Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we are doing nouns 1. Noun in Arabic is called isim, and there are two forms of nouns. One is ma'arifa and one is nakira. Now proper noun ma'arifa is a proper noun. Wait a second, okay. Ma'arifa is a proper noun, while nakira is an improper noun or an indefinite noun. Basically, ma'arifa is something specific, while nakira can be generic. Now, proper nouns are like in English. They are either names of people, or names of places, or an object, or actually, yes. Now, common nouns are also names, but they are more generic than proper nouns. And for example, we have qalamun, which is a pen or any pen. We have rasulun, which is a prophet or any prophet. We have baladun, which is a or any town. We have shajarun, which is a or any tree. Baitun, a or any house. Kitabun, a or any book. Now, as we can see here, is that when a word is not the name of a place, or not the name of an object, or not the name of, or not a specified object, and it has a two tanween here, and it has a tanween here, which is basically the harakat repeated twice. So it has an un, or an, or in pronunciation. It is an indefinite noun. Like here you see, note that all indefinite nouns end with tanween, which is either dhammatain, two dhammas, or fathatain, two fathas, or kasratain, two kasras, which according to examples here, we have qalamun, well, we have dhammatain, which gives you the un sound at the end. Now, all indefinite nouns end with this except for the definite nouns, which are the names of places or people or objects. So we have to keep that in mind. Now, as for proper nouns, there's not really any standard rule, because there are a few ways of defining proper nouns. Actually, one of them will have alif lam, which means the, in front of the word, which makes it a definite pronoun, a specified pronoun. Okay, the original i'rab, which is the grammatical state of the word, is actually the original i'rab is one dhamma, but different instances will change it to one fatha or one kasra, or you can have double here. That's the thing. We will explain as we go by. Now, harakat is basically the term for the vowels, the little signs that you see on top of the letters, so that you know how to pronounce it. Now, examples of proper or definite nouns is, one of them is like here in this ayah we have Ibrahim, because Ibrahim is the name of a person, who is Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam, based on the context of this ayah alone. Now, in the second example, we have two proper nouns, which are Dawood and Jalut respectively, because they are the names of people. Now, in the third example, we have Nuh. We have Nuhan, which is Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. That is the name of a prophet, as we all know it. And we have Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam's name Sulaiman, and Nabi Dawood alayhi salam's name Dawood. These are proper or definite nouns. Definite nouns are basically something that is specified, basically a noun that is specific to something. We will see in the next chapter, that is right on the next page. Now we have common or indefinite nouns. This is a little bit trickier to understand, because it is more common than proper nouns, in terms of the fact that there are more common nouns than proper nouns, because proper nouns are specified, and every specified thing is less than two, as we all know it. Now, one example is maradun here. Examples of common or indefinite nouns. في قلوبهم مرض. It is the last word maradun here that means disease, which is the indefinite pronoun in terms of this context alone, because it means a disease, which can mean any disease. Now the next example we have Ghishawatun, which means a wheel. Now in the third example we have three examples of common or indefinite nouns, which are dhulumat, rad, and barq, which respectively mean darkness, thunder, and lightning. Now these are generic, these are not specific to what type of darkness or what type of thunder or what type of lightning or what type of wheel or what type of disease. Now here we have, now the last example we have is shay'an, which means a thing. Now the second part of nouns, we are going to learn about al-ism, which means the nouns, which means definite nouns or proper nouns. Now, in Arabic, as I mentioned earlier, the way to identify a definite noun, one of the ways to identify, by the way, not the only one, but there is one of them. One of them is having alif lam in front, which means the. So when it specifies the, that means that we are not talking about any particular object, we're talking about this one particular object. So we have zoomed in. Now, not only is al a way of identifying, differentiating between an indefinite and a definite pronoun in Arabic, but it is also a way of converting an indefinite noun to a definite noun. One thing you notice is that when alif lam comes, if the if the indefinite noun has tanween, which is either dhammatain, fathatain, or kasratain, which is basically two dhammas, two fathas, or two kasras respectively. Once you have an alif lam, one of the tanween will be dropped, and you will only have one. And you will only have one of the harakats. So we have alif lam and we have baitun. We combine the two, we get al baitu, not al baitun. One popular way of remembering this is that alif lam and tanween cannot get along, so you have to put them apart. So wherever there is tanween again is two harakats, two vowels, which gives you the vowel with the n at the back. So now, for example, we have baitun, right? And we want to put an alif lam. So what do? We merge the two and we drop down one of the dhammas here. So it becomes al baitu, which is something that has to be emphasized upon. Because you see in the Quran, nowhere in the Quran will you find an alif lam and dhamma and tanween together. This is one thing you need to remember. Now another example, al and kitabun, which makes al kitabu, which means the book. Now in the Quran, commonly the book can be referred to two things. One is when in the Quran you see al kitabu written. It might mean that this verse is talking about the Quran itself. Like when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in, is it Surah Al-Fussilat or Surah Al-Ghafir? Okay, he has said in one of the surahs where he said, Inna anzalna al-kitabu la... Oh. Never mind, good. Like in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ, which means that is the book. So actually I think I'll just show it here so that we all can see. Okay, like we have here, For example, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ. So we can see that al-kitabu here is a definite pronoun, is a definite noun, because it has alif lam in front of it. So that is the book in which there is no doubt, guidance for the people who are conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now here we have, the next example is alif lam and rasulun, which gives you ar-rasulu, which means the prophet. Okay, a lot of the time when the prophet is mentioned, it is referred to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Oh, I forgot about one thing. I was earlier talking about the book. Now, usually when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the book, it means either one of two things. Like what we have seen here is ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ, which is the Quran. And in another instance, you will see is Ahlul Kitabi. Hold on. Like here we have الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. Now, in this context, الْكِتَابَ الَّذِينَ آتَيْنَاهُمُ الْكِتَابَ يَتْلُونَهُ حَقَّ تِلَاوَتِهِ. Now, in this context, al-kitab means the book that has been revealed to the Jews. To the Jews, correct. Yeah, because this particular context is about the Jews. Correct. So, here Al-Kitab refers to the book that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had revealed to the Jews, which is the Torah, as we all know it. Now we move on here. Okay. Now, another way of actually changing an indefinite noun to a definite noun is adding a possessive pronoun at the back. It's actually called dhamir muttasil, like we had learned earlier in one of the earlier lessons. We learned about dhamir muttasil. In English, it is called a possessive pronoun because it is to show ownership or possession of something. For example, we have baitun and hu. Even in this context, when you want to make an indefinite noun, a definite noun by adding a possessive pronoun at the back, you will have the haraka of the last letter prior to putting the dhamir muttasil. Instead of having tanween, you will only have one haraka. So you won't have baitunhu, you will have baituhu. For example, we have baitun and hu. And it becomes baituhu. It does not become baitunhu because one of the dhammas has been removed. So instead of being a house that is mentioned here, it becomes his house, because hu is the specific possessive pronoun for a singular male. Now here we have kitabun and kum. Kum, as we have learned in one of the past lessons, is the possessive pronoun for plural male. So we have kitabukum, which is your book. Now here we have rasulun and na. As we have again reiterated in the past lesson, na here is the possessive pronoun for we or us or our. You could translate it into that. So it becomes Rasuluna, our Prophet. So, and another way of doing so is, okay, let's just say you want to specify, instead of it just being his house or your book, you want to name it a third person instead. But you actually want to give a name. Another way of changing an indefinite noun to a definite noun is if you add another proper noun, be it somebody's name or something specific, basically. So, for example, we have Rasulun and Allahu. It becomes Rasulullahi. Here, the same thing applies. When an indefinite noun is changed to a definite noun or a proper noun, when an indefinite noun is changed to a definite noun or a specified noun, one of the tanween is removed, so you have only one that is left. So we have Rasulullahi. This shows ownership, which I'll explain in another lesson. Here also you see ownership, but instead of putting suffixes, you are putting another proper noun, either be it somebody's name or another proper noun. So like we have Rasulullahi, Prophet of Allah. We have Baytun and Allahu, which makes house of Allah. And we have Adhabun and An-Naru, which makes Adhabun Nari, punishment in the house of Allah and punishment of the fire, respectively. Now, as you might see a pattern here, that the second noun of all of these three end with the kasra. In the later lessons, inshallah, I will go through with you as to why it ends like that. Now, examples of nouns with alif lam, which just means the, we have lahu mulku samawati wal ard, which is in Surah Al-Baqarah. And we have the second example, tilka ayatul kitab al-hakim. We have, these are the signs of the wise book in Surah Al-Luqman. Yeah. And from Surah Yunus, we have hatta yarawul adhab al-alim, which means until they see the painful punishment. Examples of nouns with pronouns, as in you have another pronoun, you do not have someone specified. You have a possessive pronoun. إِذْ قَالَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ, when his Lord said to him in Surah Al-Baqarah. Because at the end of Rabbuhu, the who here is the pronoun that refers to, that means his. Now we have another example, وَإِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا بَيِّنَاتٍ. We have, and when our clear signs are rehearsed unto them. For like here, the possessive pronoun is right behind ayatu, which makes ayatuna, which means our clear signs. Actually, bayinat means clear signs, but you get the gist. So basically, the bolded parts here are the meanings of the nouns with either alif lam or pronouns. Oh yeah, and the last example for nouns with pronouns. These come very often in the Quran, so it is very important to remember these and to be able to point out more examples. أَوْلَمْ تَكُ تَأْتِيكُمْ رُسُلُكُمْ. Did there not come to you your messengers? رُسُلُكُمْ, as in your messengers, the messengers who are assigned to you. As said here in Surah Ghafir, in this context, it means the messengers that were assigned to you. Examples for nouns with nouns. فَلَعْنَةُ اللَّهِ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ. Allah's curses on the rejectors or disbelievers. Allah's curse, which means the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have another one from Surah Al-Ma'idah. ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ. That is the grace of Allah. And we have example of nouns. We have from here it is Fadlullahi. That is the noun with noun. Here from Surah Al-Shu'ara, Rabbus Samawat, Lord of the heavens. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحانك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. صلى الله عليه وسلم. Now, as usual, if you have any comments or any questions to ask, you can write them in the comments below. The next chapter we are going to go through is As-Sifa wal Mawsuf, which means descriptive phrases.